Okay, this is going to be the last informative video, but this video is going to be a little bit different. Speaking of scammers, Dr. Eric Berg, Ericberg, is simply a chiropractor. You've probably seen his name all over the internet. He does not have a PhD or any doctorate degree in medical science of any sort. He's simply a chiropractor, and he's not a practiced or licensed nutritionist or anything else. He's endorsing hundreds, if not thousands, of products. And the material that he produces is all false information. At times, he's getting paid by the sponsors. Well, a lot of times. The guy is making millions of dollars on YouTube. Scamming. Well, what people like to do on YouTube at a greater level, though. Don't believe a word that Eric Berg, he's not a doctor, so we're not going to give him that honor of calling him that name. If you look up the words Dr. Eric Berg scams, you'll find plenty of YouTubers or articles about this guy. Now, what he tries to do to protect himself is he'll put a disclaimer on there of some sort, that this is just a guide, and that, we're not saying that this is really going to do what it claims to do, but he sure seems to make you believe that. And he's going to go against someone as noted as Dr. Linus Pauling, who did a lot of major disease studies, especially with vitamin C. And Eric Berg kind of dispels this very learned man, scientist. He's trying to promote products. So the name Dr. Berg is going to be on the title of this show because I want it to get out and I'm not going to remove it. There's a lot of false information out there, obviously, on YouTube. We already know that. But when it comes to somebody who is a chiropractor, now look, you could be a layperson without a degree at all. But if you get your information from the right source, then you can't be held accountable for the information that you provide. You simply say, like I always do, I'm not a medical provider and I'm not a doctor. My information is based on research by professionals, not people that are claiming to be medical doctors. They call themselves doctor when they're just a goddamn chiropractor, which I never believed in anyway. So, to Dr. Berg followers, it's a scam. And the guy is filthy rich. Even his own son came out on some articles about his father. The guy's making millions of dollars. I know what you're saying. Oh, you're just jealous you're not making that kind of money. That has nothing to do with it, man. It has to do with fact and science. It has to do with reality. It has to do with major scamming of millions of people who swear by Dr. Berg. Well, because Dr. Berg said so, it must be true. Same as YouTube. If somebody says something, it must be true. And people follow the same kind of a way of thinking, their thought process. If something is said on the web or internet, it must be true. But there are so many scammers out there that are taking your money. They disguise themselves as respectable people who are interested in nothing more than being interested in the community at large. But what they're doing is actually very criminal, as one person found out. And maybe more to come. Dr. Berg. Never put the name Dr. in front of this man's name. He is not, I repeat, he is not a doctor. And people should make complaints to the appropriate authorities, but he's a very smart man with a very smart lawyer, and he can afford it. And a lot of the products or vitamins you see where it says recommended by Dr. Berg, he puts a disclaimer on there of some sort or another to protect him legally, although he has lost some legal cases, but not for a lot of money. But when there's money out there to be made, and you got a good lawyer because you could afford a good lawyer, well, it's always good to be able to afford a good lawyer, right? We know that, don't we? But somebody like Eric Berg, there's no excuse for him whatsoever. And as such, he does not have the qualifications And he gets into everything from shampoos to oils, and he's like an expert in just about everything. Based on what? Scientific theory? Is it based on facts by professionals who actually study perhaps dermatology, physiology, any of the above? Chemistry, perhaps? Biology, perhaps? He's not an expert in any of these fields. So I know some of you out there are familiar with Dr. Berg. Maybe you have a little more information. I would suggest that you look up this gentleman on YouTube. Just go and look up complaints that were made against him and how people know that he's a scammer. You can't use doctor in front of your name unless you're an actual trained doctor. Now, you could be a very learned person and you could talk about medical things on YouTube and anywhere else. As long as it's backed up by science, from what you read comes from a qualified source that provided the information that you have put out on your own social media. That's okay. You can get away with that stuff. There's nothing really to get away from. These are scientists. These are proven facts about health and biology and cellular theory and you name it, by people who hold those degrees. You could certainly quote them. There's nothing against the law for that. Research anybody that comes on as some kind of a guru. Okay, research me. I'm alive at 69 and I'm fairly healthy from what I could tell. I'm doing something right by following my own guidelines, by going by information from reliable, and I'll underline that word, reliable sources. Not by a man who is a chiropractor with no prior pedigree from any other endeavor other than his chiropractic practice. I remember when, I'll give you one example, when I lived in Seattle, I went to a naturopathic doctor, okay? All right. Now, I'm not saying naturopathic people don't know their shit. A lot of them actually do. But rather than being a naturopathic doctor business, they make most of their money from the supplements that they try to push to their patients. I remember going in there one day, I said, let me go try this for that and this and that. Let me go see what this naturopathic doctor had to say. He comes out literally with an armful of expensive supplements. Expensive supplements. Take this for that, this for that, this for that, this for that, this for that. And then, of course, the fee for entering his office for his services. This is the fraud and the scamming that goes on all over the world as we speak. And some people are stupid. Of course, I didn't buy the supplements. I was smart enough not to do that. That's why I don't have belief in chiropractors. I don't have belief in naturopaths who are basically making their income from the vitamins and supplements that they sell, rather than doing a practice with their patients, other than shoving a whole armful of vitamins, probably worth over $500-600, to get you to buy from them. I've experienced that right here in the Philippines, in the Bantayan area, actually, with this woman doctor who is a doctor and does have a degree, but she makes extra money on the side by promoting, sponsoring certain products. She happens to own the drugstore right next to her. Okay, so you'd have to pay her a fee to see her, and then she's going to give you a prescription, only be able to be gotten from her drugstore right side to side, right next door. Right next door. Okay. And a family member also operates a dentistry clinic. How convenient is that? So she's pushing these expensive supplements for something that maybe you don't need. The same thing happened with my girlfriend, who takes medicine for a thyroid problem, right? And this very learned guy who does have a degree, who is in practice, Right away, he was pushing these other supplements. It's going to do everything. It's going to make you not fall off a trapeze. It's going to make you run 200 miles an hour. It's going to take care of all your cellular problems on a cellular level. He was doing it to supplement his business. This is done all the time. All the time. So we talk about scammers on YouTube, which is so low grade. You know, everybody is trying to make a buck off somebody. Let's spread the drama. Let's spread the bullshit. Let's spread the scams. Because somebody is going to benefit from that somehow by getting, I don't know, let's say more viewers, subscribers, and maybe donators, perhaps, but that doesn't happen, does that? Anyway, this is going to stay on here because I want people who look up so-called Dr. Berg to see this video. This will not be taken off. Call it my last hurrah. Thank you very much. Not everything is what it seems to be. Smoke and mirrors. There's always something to gain from something that somebody says. But the truth is the truth, and it can be challenged by fiction. But truth overrides fiction every single time.